No intro today. All right, no theme song today. All right, it is almost 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. But you know what? I'm still in my prime. Actually, I'm not. I'm entering it. But anyway, I got my guy Zay. Man, we just had a big fight go down. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney and Zay, man. I said, you know what? Screw the intro. I still got the adrenaline pumping right now, watching this fight as a sports fan, and it went down. Ryan Garcia defeated Devin Haney in an upset at the Barclays Center. Okay, he ain't no pretender. Okay, and Zay, off the rip, before you give your opinion on this fight, right? And before, listen, excuse me, where's my manners at? We got 69 people in here already, 70. Okay, welcome to Real Lil TV. It's not 1999 anymore. I didn't even say the show name. Okay. My God, where's my manners? 99 pod. Things is different around here. Okay. Boxing, we are seeing upsets right now in boxing right now. Zay, I am pumped right now. I forgot my name. I forgot your name. I forgot to introduce the show. Oh my God. So, please like, subscribe right now, man. Woo. You know what, Zay? What's funny to me is that when we previewed this fight, first of all, we had a question. Will this fight live up to the hype? And immediately after the show was over, I sat and I thought about it. I'm like, I didn't like the way how the question was worded because there wasn't no hype around this fight. Okay. The fight barely got people to attend at the Barclays Center prior to tonight. Glad to see that it was packed because they were struggling to sell tickets, right? And it wasn't really no hype. I didn't even care about it like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was sitting back. Normally I'm standing, pacing back and forth like I'm a daggone ISIS bomber. Okay. But I was sitting back in my chair, feet cocked up, pina colada. I'm like, man, I'm just watching the fight because I'm a boxing fan. But I really don't care. I have no expectations. But guess what? It over exceeded my expectations. Therefore, it lived up to the hype. See, I'm going to pass over the mic. What are your thoughts on Ryan Garcia pulling the upset?
For those watching, welcome to 99 Pod. Listen, it's not 1999 anymore. Podcast. Listen, in the predictions, when we had predictions, when we gave them, I said I believe Ryan Garcia will win this fight because Devin Haney has shown us his inability to fight against volume fighters, guys who throw a lot of punches, and we saw that against Lomachenko. I felt like Lomachenko won that fight, and we saw it here against Ryan Garcia, who was throwing a lot of flurries of punches, was confusing Haney on where these punches were coming from, and he cannot check that left hook. There was many times that he got hit with that left hook throughout this fight. It started in the first round, literally early in the fight where he was dazed, and I think it happened again in round, was it 7 or 8, when he got knocked down the first time, and from there on, it was all she wrote. It was just the talent of these two fighters should have sold out the Barclays Center because boxing fans know what these two fighters possess, the skill set these fighters possess. Yeah, we make fun of Devin Haney for not having that knockout, lights out power, of course, but he's still a tactical fighter. He's a technician. He knows how to pick his spots. He knows how to defend well. But against Ryan Garcia, who is another great and skillful fighter, a guy who is known for having unique combos, being able to catch people with that left hook that puts people to sleep. These are two guys that should have sold out that Barclays Center and should have put on a masterclass. But besides doing that buffoonery promoting with all this pushing and shoving and trying to make this real life argument, it was never like that between these two kids. It was just two young fighters trying to make a wholesome name for themselves in the brightest lights in New York City. But for whatever reason, people only like conflict. People only like drama. And it was annoying and it took away from the fight itself. But this fight lived beyond the hype. The fight lived beyond the hype.
No,
this is many years in the making. This is not just, they just came up, but I know this is for many years, like 4 or 5 years in the making for these guys to fight. So it was beautiful to see. It was a great fight in and out, and Ryan Garcia got the victory. I really want to touch base on the knockout. With the first round, the round he got knocked down, I believe it was round 7. When Ryan Garcia trussed him up. And it was just a beautiful sequence of just Ryan Garcia pushing the tempo, running forward, not being afraid of being hit, but making sure his punches landed. And it was just a beautiful of setup where he landed that left hook, and you just saw Devin Haney's eyes roll back. That was a beautiful combo. You don't see many fighters getting hit like that. And
Yeah.
that was a beautiful combo. I just want to get your input on
Yeah, man. Woo.
Ryan Garcia's performance, but then we'll talk about Haney's performance as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna get right to the performance, and then we could talk about everything else leading up to the fight that kind of blinded everybody
Mhm.
from a good entertainment fight that it was. It was a seventh round where he got knocked down. And it's funny because you had the cameraman coming into the ring. The fight not even over yet. The
Mhm.
DJ was playing the music. Hey DJ, keep playing that song all night, on and on. I mean, guys is ready to turn up. The fight not even over.
Mhm.
Credit to Devin Haney as well. I want to start off with credit for Devin Haney because he showed resilience.
Correct.
Round one, this fight could have been over. Okay, but he showed
No problem.
resilience, right? He had the chin, right? We question his chin. He showed that he has a chin. He has heart. He got back to the basics after that rocky round one, using his famous jab and I'm fighting behind the jab. And at one point after that round one, I kind of threw out, I won't say hope, but I lost hope in Ryan Garcia. I thought he should have went for the gusto. Like
Mhm.
it was a lot of things going in my mind in that round one, right? Because he did take his foot off the gas and showed patience. So you could look at it from that perspective. Like, yeah, he's fighting smarter because when he fought Tank and he, was having momentum in that round two, he went for the gusto and got knocked down. And it
Correct.
altered the trajectory of the fight. People don't realize how that one punch changed the fight because Ryan Garcia was building some momentum in that round two. And in this fight, he took his foot off the gas and actually played it safe, which ended up being the smartest thing to
Mhm.
do. But at the time, I was juggling that and like, oh, maybe he should have went for the gusto because one thing you don't want to do is allow the sharp Devin Haney to gain a rhythm, which he did at one point in the fight. I thought it was over. I'm like, yeah, this is about to be a lopsided victory for Devin Haney. But Ryan Garcia, with that snappy left hook, was able to, hurt Haney numerous times, and Haney knew it was
Mhm.
coming and still couldn't defend it, still had no answers for it. And it wasn't only the snappy left hook. The right hand played a factor in this fight for Ryan Garcia. And when he used the right hand, that's when this fight blew open. And that's why I want to see him use more early in the fight. He
Mhm.
eventually did, and it paid dividends. Yeah, he could have went to the body a little bit more. Honestly, this fight could have been a blowout had Ryan Garcia did a little bit of the intangible things better.
Correct.
He allowed Devin Haney, I think it was after the first knockdown, he reverted back to that dumbass shoulder roll. He be trying to, I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay, I
don't
look
know.
like the
His defense
Tootsie
was
roll.
bad.
That don't look like the shoulder roll. It look like the Tootsie roll. My guy was turning
He
his
was
back
showing his
like
bare
he was
back.
on
It didn't make
crack.
any sense.
Okay,
It was wild.
but when he did that, he allowed Devin Haney to get back in the rhythm. But credit to Ryan Garcia, the blazing speed, the power.
Mhm.
He's never out of the fight. And clearly that was a microcosm of this fight. And I just want to give him his jurisdiction due because a lot of people, counting him out.
Mhm.
I would be the fool to say I was counting him out as well. A lot of, comments and stuff like that was made before the fight. The guy looked struck out on coke, but guess what? He ain't no joke. Okay, he came out and won this fight. Credit to Ryan Garcia for the victory.
Real quick, I just want to shout out to the 223 people watching this
Woo!
stream currently. This is great work of these two young fighters that we were able to watch. The boxing
240.
fans definitely was able to witness a show tonight. But most importantly, when we talk about Ryan Garcia, right? The antics. We talk about all this stuff because people are telling him in his ear he needs to do this to sell the fight. And that doesn't need to happen. He doesn't need to be selling the fight in this magnitude of he has to do all this extra stuff. The referee job was terrible. We got to talk
Yeah,
about
I'm glad
Harper.
he brought
He
that
can't
up
be in
because I
another
was
major
just
fight.
about to.
He was doing terrible. Taking off, that was horrible. He's doing way too much. You know what people talk about in basketball and football? The referees are the ones that they're the ones deciding the job. They're making the results. The referees can't do that. They cannot do that in boxing. And they can't do that in this particular fight because they could have cost Ryan Garcia the fight. And no one's talking
Yeah,
about that either. Everyone's talking about Ryan Garcia won. He outclassed Haney. Yeah, sure.
but
That fight could have been cost.
you see, the thing about Ryan Garcia, right? And Ryan Garcia is so perplexing because 1 minute it's like, yes, Ryan Garcia. The other minute you're like, huh, what are you doing? That's
Mhm.
the Ryan Garcia conundrum. Even though there was times in this fight, like round 12, where he was showboating, where I thought he could have won that round easily. Devin Haney was clearly on spaghetti legs. Okay. And we saw in that Lomachenko Haney fight, Loma, who had Haney hurt,
Correct.
take his foot off the gas around 12, which allowed Lomachenko to get robbed. I was saying to myself, I hope Ryan Garcia don't get robbed. You can't get knocked down 3 times in the fight and win the fight.
Correct.
With all due respect, I don't even care about the mathematics. Okay, I stopped counting. Once he got knocked out the third time, I said, my scorecard is out the window. I don't need it. Can't win the fight like that. But the Lomachenko fight, he took this foot off the gas, and I'm like, Ryan Garcia, the showboating. Salute to Derrick James. There's a lot of things we could cover here. I'll touch on Derrick James, no Diddy later. You know what I'm saying, right? Ryan Garcia showed resilience, and that has been a microcosm of his career.
Correct.
The Tank fight, getting knocked down, getting back up. He got back up. Say what you want about him quitting in that Tank fight, because got called spade a spade. He quit. But he did get knocked down in round 2, right? And he survived to, I think, round 7, I believe, was when I don't remember the round where Tank stopped him with the body shot. I think it was round 7, right? But he fought, he got back up, he fought. Yeah. The Luke Campbell fight, he got knocked down, got back up, he stopped him, right? The Oscar Duarte fight. Oscar Duarte was getting some momentum, and he stopped him with the money shot, the left hook. So Ryan Garcia has always been a guy that has bounced back from adversity. And even though there was stints in this fight where the referee was on a daggone payroll, okay, my guy was on the payroll clearly. I mean, he didn't even give him a warning before he took the point away. That's number one. That's an error right there. You got to give the guy a warning. Now, I know Ryan Garcia was not smart to throw a punch like that, but he was frustrated. One thing about Devin Haney, when he gets hurt, he clinches and he holds. And I thought that he should have got a point deducted for clinching and holding. We want to see a brawl. We want to see a fight. And this guy obviously is holding on for dear life, and it's affecting Ryan Garcia. But then again, you could look at the shoulder roll where Ryan Garcia was turning his back, and I believe Harvey Dock warned Devin Haney about punching him in the back before he just allowed him to start punching him in the back later on in the fight. And then you could say the holding, it kind of like canceled each other out in a way, but that one point that was deducted could have been the difference in the fight. Luckily, 2 of the judges knew what they was watching, and one judge who had it a jaw, something is wrong with that guy. Get him out of the sport.
That's a question. That's funny because I have to ask that question as well when it turns to the judging and the judge scorecards and things of that nature. Devin Haney, in the unofficial scorecard, they had him going from round 2 to round 6, winning every round from that point. I wanted to ask you about that because it seemed like a low. It seemed like you could have gave, it was like a swing round with 2 to 6 where it could have went either way. And it seemed like once round 7 came and Garcia knocked down, Devin Haney, they gave the swing rounds to Garcia kind of. How do you feel like in terms of that judging, and like how can these judges change how they view the fight? Because there's going to be a lot of fights like this where 2 big superstars are not really swinging and throwing punches until down the line, until like something happens, like I said, round 7, round 8. And like, how do you give these swing rounds to which fighter? Is it based on if someone gets knocked down first, or is it kind of just momentum based? Like, all right, this guy looking like he's going to get heavy.
That's a good question, right? Because, it goes back to the Pandora's box that you're opening. What's a 10-8 round? What's this and that? There's a lot of ways you can judge a fight. I think a lot of judges clearly, and this is factual. If you look at the cards, you see one judge is over here, and the next judge, his card is over here. Even the tune-up fight before this one, where you had one judge 98 to 91, something to that effect, and the other judge is on a totally different planet watching a totally different fight. It's like, these judges clearly, they judge the fight differently based on their cards, right? So that's a good question. I think for me, Ryan Garcia needed probably all 3 knockdowns to win this fight, right? Because there was a period in which, you see, I'm trying to remember, this is instant fight reactions. I don't even got time to watch tape, but off my memory, after round 1, there was a period where Haney was winning the fight, and he won like about 4 rounds back to back to back, right? Off the top of my head. And Ryan Garcia was not going to win the fight due to the activity, right? Because Haney was throwing the jab. Ryan Garcia did not use the jab a lot in this fight. So Haney would have outpointed him. But when it comes to the knockdowns, like I said, that's a great question you're asking. But for me, you cannot get knocked down 3 times and win a fight,
unless you're Tyson Fury. But that's a discussion for another day. That's a conversation for another day.
That's a good point.
two major questions, right? We're gonna go with one question
You see,
first.
you see. I hate to go race here, but that's what happens when you're a gypsy. I'll just leave it at that.
Listen,
Okay, they
I'm
don't
gonna
look out
go.
for the brother like that, but
I want to ask you this main question, right? So if you're Devin Haney, where do you go from here? You still have the championship, right? You're still the WBC super lightweight champion, right? Where do you go from here? Do you go and fight Ryan Garcia again, or do you start looking somewhere else like a Shakur Stevenson, or do you look somewhere else that fight another contender for that belt and defend that belt in a different way? Because you really want to see Ryan Garcia again right after this, after he just had a momentum, a big victory against you that looked very dominating if you're only looking at the knockdowns?
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. That's a good question. What's next for Devin Haney? I think if you're Devin Haney, you probably want the immediate rematch, right? Now, is there appetite for it? I think it is. But if I'm Ryan Garcia, right, I'm chasing redemption. I'm trying to get that tank fight in the future, get that rematch, because I think, and that's the weight. Obviously, the weight, he at 140, that's obviously going to be a big thing. But if that fight could happen down the line in the future, let's say Tank migrates to 140, where everybody's migrating to, you're the big name. There's a lot of names at 140. Do you want to be a part of that? Maybe we'll get that in the future. Who knows? But I think if you're Devin Haney, maybe you do, win it back with Ryan Garcia. I mean, there's history. These guys fought 6 times in the amateurs. They split 3-3. Now it's 1-0 in the pros.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me kind of. I'm not even gonna go there, but I was thinking Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. When they fought in the amateurs, they had that rivalry, and then the pros became a new rivalry. Maybe this is that. I'm not saying that Devin Haney gonna knock him out in the rematch, like my guy Kenny saying. The guy
Yeah.
can't punch through a wet paper bag. I mean, my guy was punching him in the back, okay, to no avail. And I
Yeah.
said it before when he fought Loma, right? He was throwing a lot of body shots against Loma to no avail. Loma kept coming. This guy got no power. Okay, this guy turned off the lights. Literally, you got no power, literally. But yeah, that's my thoughts on your question.
I think Devin Haney, like both these fighters are super young, 25 years old each. And, we're seeing them at their prime age, the young age, and putting out a show. They did put on a great show in Barclays. And like I said, unfortunate that they didn't get to sell out the way it should have, because this fight was, like I said, above the hype. I think
Let
for
me
Devin
ask you one
Haney,
question real
go ahead.
quickly, Zay, because you asked me a question. I'm gonna lob you up another question.
Go ahead.
Do you think there's any disappointment on your end that a guy as sharp as Haney is and was sought out to be, that he didn't have an answer for? Basically, let's call a spade. Ryan Garcia is kind of one dimensional in the
Mhm.
sense that he has his money shot, and that could be negated. Do you think a guy like Devin Haney, as sharp as him, or you disappointed that he didn't have an answer for Ryan Garcia's money shot?
Before I answer that question, I want to give a shout out again to all of the 298 people watching the stream currently.
315, bro.
315, excuse me. See, I got my numbers messed up, but shout out to y'all
Like
for
and
just watching
subscribe,
me
y'all.
doing
Like and
like,
subscribe.
subscribe to the It's Not 1999 Anymore podcast on YouTube, Spotify, so on and so forth. But listen, I think the only disappointment is that we've seen Haney have so many defensive master classes against so many different fighters, and we didn't get to see it against the speed and the accuracy of a Ryan Garcia level fighter. We didn't get to see it against a Lomachenko accuracy, speed level fighter. And we're seeing that there's a certain skill set that you must possess to beat Haney. And these two fighters already that we've seen have these skill sets and not dominate, but defeat Haney in a certain fashion. One
This
actually
might
giving
be on
one
the
giving
verge
one
of
Haney got
domination.
rewarded a chip. The other one Garcia took away from him. So I think it is a tad disappointment that despite his father kind of talking talking about, oh, my son is this, that, and the third, and kind of using his platform to beat a mouthpiece for Devin Haney, it backfired on him because it put a tremendous amount of pressure on Devin Haney to win this fight when he didn't have the skill set to do so. Unfortunately, you have to be able to attack Garcia. Garcia is not a guy who has any defensive skill. Like, he has nothing defensively whatsoever. You have to be able to attack him. And Haney is a guy who waits and sees. He's a guy who waits and reacts to everything the fighter is doing. And unfortunately, Garcia took advantage of that because he is a volume puncher. And so I think the disappointment comes from when do you be aggressive? When is it time for you to get out of your defensive shell and become the offensive weapon to attack these guys, these volume punchers? I think that's something that I'm glad. Unfortunately, I'm glad that this loss is a learning lesson for him, because now he can go back in the drawing board and figure it out and hopefully come back stronger. Or in a Deontay Wilder case, he gets worse.
Yeah, I mean, when you lose your first fight, that's where the true test comes in. Ryan Garcia already
Demoralizing.
passed that test. We gotta see if Devin Haney could pass that test as well.
Yep.
But I think for me, Ryan Garcia, I'm not sure, what's going on with this shoulder roll thing, because his back was unprotected and
Yep.
Devin Haney kept pounding at that unprotected back.
Yep.
But it was just I
It
don't
looked
even know if
crazy.
that sound right. No Diddy.
It
No
looked
Diddy again.
that's the issue, right? Because it looked crazy when Garcia is just turning all the way, turn around, like, don't hit me.
Yeah.
Like, when you're getting beat by a parent, you got the belt, and they just whip you with the belt, and you just turn your back, like, don't hit. Like, that's what Garcia looked like, and it's wild, because it's like, how are you this far along in your pro career and you still have no defense whatsoever? You still don't have like a defensive something. You talking about,
And
yeah,
that's something that
my
he's gonna
Philly
have
show's
to.
good. No, that ain't look like over there in Philly. I don't know what show that was. That ain't look good.
That's something that he's gonna have to figure out. I want to talk about Derek James, right? Because I thought he did a good job
Yeah,
coaching. You
absolutely.
know, at this, when he went to the to the stool. He did a good job coaching, trying to get him to stay focused, right? It's a very interesting pairing because you saw all them videos of Derek James and he looks frustrated. Obviously, we know his track record
Mhm.
before and of late. He hasn't got the best luck of a job when it comes to mega fights, right? Errol Spence, his best fighter, arguably, gets dominated in his mega fight against Terrence Crawford, right? He had some other losses as well. um, and now you got Ryan Garcia, who a lot of people prior to this fight didn't really know how good he was. They knew he had the accuracy, they knew he had the hand speed, but they didn't know that how good is he? Is he a hype job? Is he just a guy bringing the millions of followers on Instagram to the ring with him? But can the guy can fight? Can he fight? And we figured, and we learned today that Ryan Garcia can fight. And good thing for Derek James to be able to get this W that was very well needed, especially with a guy who was once trainer of the year on a little loser streak. So that
Yeah,
was good.
no, that was crazy. You know what's funny? Ryan Garcia, I thought he had a glass chin at one point. I thought not right now. I don't think Ryan Garcia has that glass chin like I saw against David. I saw against other fighters. He looked poised every time he got hit with something, or with a strong jab, a little hook. I think O'Neal says right here, the body work. That's something he needs to develop more. That you said it earlier in the stream. O'Neal saying it, that the body work that changes a lot for fighters. It makes them think a lot more. It changes the trajectory of certain punches. Ryan was gunning for the headshot, his temple, literally every single punch he threw. Now imagine if we had a body work, that fight would have ended a long time ago. It's ironic that he only aimed for the headshots, and he still landed that hook shot beautifully on Devin Haney's chin multiple times. It's kind of wild how Haney didn't get that like figured out. Like, yeah, he's only aiming for my head. Like, I don't understand why that's not something he was even like corresponding right away, like responding to right away. It's kind of weird. I don't know what that corner was doing when all that was happening. I'm confused on what the game plan was once Haney went down the first time, because I wonder if the strategies went out the window once he got dazed out. Once he was gone, I wonder if it's like, all right, are you just go out there and protect yourself? Like, I don't know what the hell that corner was doing to make sure that Devin Haney was on an even kill to make sure he could finish out the fight, or at least regain momentum after that first knockdown. It just seemed like he never had it together after that first knockdown.
He really rarely had his legs really under him. And you could tell he was hurt. Obviously, the resilience led you to think that he was still in the fight. But we could always look at a wounded animal, and
Yep.
he was a wounded animal in that ring. I think too, another point that I want to make. Salute to the 366 people live here right now with us. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel once more. Okay, I'm trying to hit 1K. Okay, I'm trying to get paid out here, B. All right.
Real quick, before you finish that, yo, if you have any comments, questions, anything, please comment below.
Yeah,
We'll
drop it.
put your comments across the screen so it can be viewed. We can answer them. We can acknowledge them. Continue, Lou.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about Ryan Garcia heading into this fight, the thing that I thought about overnight, prior to this fight, was that Ryan Garcia in this fight would have been able to take more risks than he did against the Tank fight in the Tank fight, because Tank got so much power
Mhm.
that it makes you very calculated on the risk you took or take. And that was clear and evident when Ryan Garcia tried to go for the gusto in round 2. He got caught, and then he was more safe. He played it safe until he got stopped by the body shot in that fight. But against Haney, who really doesn't really have power, you can kind of go and be more aggressive. And I think Ryan Garcia at spurts was aggressive. There were times where he was backpedaling, and Devin Haney was the one walking him down. And you look at it and you're like, wait, I thought it would have been the other way around. Ryan Garcia trying to walk Devin Haney down, but it was Devin Haney walking Ryan Garcia down. Look, it wasn't a perfect fight.
Yep.
It brings you that full Ryan Garcia conundrum, but at the end of the day, did you get the job done? And Ryan Garcia got the job done, and that was the most important thing. Against his last fight against Durarte, it wasn't a perfect fight by any means. A lot of people was cracking on him for the shoulder roll and all that he brought into that fight, but he won the fight. The
Mhm.
Luke Campbell fight. Oh, he got caught, but guess what? He won the fight. Did you win the fight at the end of the day? And Ryan Garcia won the fight, and he looked impressed. He looked impressive for the
Yep.
whole body of work. When you consider, and even if you take in consideration some of the negatives, when you look at it as a whole and who he fought against,
Mhm.
okay, mind you, who did he fight against? Devin Haney, who has been near flawless throughout his career. Yes, he got saved by Lomachenko, but that still was another fight of the year. He got the job done. You got to give Ryan Garcia his jurisdiction due. We got Indiana Jones in here. Oh my God, we got everybody here. We got Indiana
So
Jones up in here.
I can answer the question right now, Indiana Jones. Devin Haney does not have to vacate the belt because Ryan Garcia was overweight. The
I
WBC,
do believe he could lose the belt though. Ryan Garcia
they
can't win it
announced
though.
it today. They announced it after the fight that he will not lose the belt. That the belt is still with Devin Haney. So I'm assuming they will order that rematch of Haney and Garcia because Haney says he wants to rematch. Garcia, we'll see what he wants to do, but they already ordered that they want to have the rematch for the belt officially. I mean, they ordered that he's keeping the belt. I'm assuming they will try to make that rematch happen. So Haney versus Garcia for
Do
that
you
belt.
think?
That was an explosive fight.
Let me ask you another question, right? Because
Mhm.
that's what I want to talk about. Obviously, Ryan Garcia can't win the belt. For those of y'all who don't know, because he didn't make weight, right? He
Correct.
was 3 pounds overweight. Do you think that ended up being an advantage on Ryan Garcia's behalf, because he did look a little bit bigger than Devin Haney in that ring to me?
So I saw a lot of rumors. I'm gonna tell you something. I feel my opinion. Um, Devin Haney is always the bigger fighter in every fight that he's in. He's always rehydrates. He always balloons up after whatever for fight night. I think Ryan Garcia won that advantage, those extra 3 pounds plus his rehydration, whatever he does, to have that advantage over Devin Haney. So I think it allowed him to finish out the fight in the magnitude that he did. He still had fresh legs. It seemed like he still was energized. He was still throwing his punches in volumes. I think those 3 pounds was the difference in between him being able to knock down Devin Haney versus Devin Haney walking him down throughout the entire fight. Because you saw it like those spurts where Garcia looked a little winded, but he was able to recompose himself quickly. I think maybe those 3 pounds was the difference. The little things, maybe not, but that's what it seemed like when watching the fight.
Yeah, I mean, he looked bigger than me in that ring too. Um, Let me get to this question about my guy Kenny. Is Devin
Gotcha.
Haney high job done, or does he still have enough buzz to get another big fight? I mean, these are two stars in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Devin Haney, I'm not in the business of writing obituaries here,
Correct.
especially when you talk about boxing, that's part of the problem, is that we do write those obituaries. But I definitely get the question. I think it's a feasible question, because he kind of was exposed. Like, he kind of was exposed in that ring, bro. Like, when you think about it, it does make you look at Devin Haney a little bit differently. Like, you expected him skill wise, clearly the better fighter from a skills perspective, smarter fighter in the ring as well. And to get caught with something, I won't say basic, but you knew it was coming. You knew it was going to be his only chance of beating you, and you still couldn't defend that. And don't get me wrong, Ryan Garcia has a way of baiting you into the left hook. That's a new thing now.
Yep.
And the shoulder roll was a part of that because in the beginning, Devin Haney was confused right before he adjusted to it and just started punching his back in. Okay.
Mhm.
But he was a little bit confused. Same thing with Durate. Like people don't realize in the Durate fight, he walked him into the money shot.
Yep.
It wasn't that he just landed the money shot. He
Correct.
baited him into the money shot. And that's
Correct.
a new thing that Ryan Garcia is doing right now. That's a part of his arsenal is confusing these fighters and baiting them in to the left hook. So yeah, we know what's coming. We know that's your money shot. But
Yep.
guess what? I got a new thing for it now. I'm gonna bait you into it. So
You
yeah,
know, just to answer the question outright, I think Devin Haney still has buzz as a champion. I don't think he
we almost at 400 here, man. Get two more up in here. We at
So
400.
listen, Indiana Jones says Ryan said at the press conference that he can't make a 140 fight. So why would they fight at 147? That's a great question. You know, fighting at 147. That's
I
a
think
fantastic. I love them fighting at 147. I think so. Question is, will Devin Haney want to fight at 147?
I think he
Because
could. He looked like he could
no,
fight
no,
there
not that he
tomorrow.
could. Would he want to? Because if he's fighting at 140 and he balloons up to a certain size, like it's to his advantage. You know, like if he's just picking apart guys who naturally can't get to where Devin Haney could get to after rehydration.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
that's
That's
an
a
advantage
good
for him.
point.
If he goes to 147 now, that's an even playing field now. Like it
And
just
then
could
you
he
talk
crack?
about
That's the thing. Could he hit just like as hard as a 147 pounder? That's a big question. Like that's gonna be tough. Could he take a punch from a 147 pounder? And if you go through that division, that's gonna be a tough ask for Devin Haney and Ryan to even get to.
but like even at 147, there's not a lot of names there. You
Not
know,
big
two of the
names.
biggest names moved up to 154 or
Yeah.
moving up. Terrence Crawford and Spence. You got Boots, but trust me, he don't want to fight Boots. I know that for a fact. He's the Mayweather of this generation as far
Yeah.
as calculation moves, you know.
Neither. I
And you
don't
know,
think
he
Ryan Garcia
thought
want to fight Boots either.
yeah, exactly. So I think Devin Haney will probably stay at 140. There's a lot of names there, and he has that advantage when he could rehydrate. So they call him a weight bully for a reason. He wasn't able to bully Ryan Garcia though. Like I said, Ryan Garcia, they looked about the same in that ring, and I think not having that advantage, because remember he had the advantage over Loma. He was bigger than Loma. You know what I'm saying? But Loma had the skill. They both had the skill, but Loma obviously is a different animal when it comes to skill. So that he should have won that fight. Yeah, we know that. But Devin Haney, even though he claimed he was weak because obviously the weight and draining his body, he still was the bigger fighter. Now you come over here to 140 and you fight a guy like Ryan Garcia, who's a big dude as well. You don't really have that same advantage. So we saw what we saw today, man. Let me go. Oh, we at 408 right now.
Hey
408.
man, real
Come on.
quick, thank you to the 408 people watching this stream right now. It is not 1999 anymore. Podcast, please like and subscribe on the YouTube channel,
He did. He
Spotify,
did came
iTunes.
in at 165 against Regis. I want to know what he came in today against Ryan Garcia. I will be looking for that information as well.
Yep,
But at the end of the day, what these fighters do is they drain their bodies to make the best fights possible. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure that he wants to fight Ryan Garcia again, and that might be a likely thing that happens, right? To
yep,
continue this pro rivalry here from the amateurs.
yep,
But even then, there's a lot of names at 140, and I think he will continue to like David Benavidez at 168.
yep.
Clearly he should be fighting at cruiserweight right now, but
Mhm.
he drains his body because his names. Obviously, he's moving up now, but I'm pretty sure, if he knew he could get that Canelo fight, he'll still be at 168, and I won't
That's
be
the
shocked if
thing,
he
real
moves
quick
back
with
down.
Devin Haney, right? He came in at 165, but he fights at 140 because fighters are naturally smaller at 140. Like he goes to 147 now, it ranges, it goes anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, as we get ready to close here, Zay,
Yes, sir.
I hate to close on momentum. I mean, 407 views, what I'm saying is brand new,
Correct.
um obviously. So I don't want to really end on momentum. I feel like I'm Lomachenko taking my foot off the gas around 12 when I could go for the chip. But I am getting to it is 2:30 in the daggone morning. I gotta get some sleep. But say I'll leave you with this. If you have one big takeaway to close, one final thought that you want to leave these 412 listeners with, what is it?
Ryan Garcia is back.
Simple. Literally. My I say I Go ahead, continue. If that's it, I'll
I
take
got you.
it.
I mean, listen, Ryan Garcia, he went through adversity. He went through a lot of mental health stuff. There's a lot of different things going on behind the scenes between his promotion, between his family, between his trainers, everything going on around him. And he faced adversity. He beat the champion. Yeah, he had the antics with him. Yeah, he was overweight, but he beat the guy that no one said he could beat. He was a severe underdog in this fight. No one even thought it was going the distance. And I think that's something that it speaks to him. It speaks to his talent. He needs to stay more disciplined, of course, in the weight. But I think that was a strategic plan to make sure that Devin Haney knows I could whoop you at any time. And I think the next one it'll be a cleaner on the weight, on the time, on the money thing. I think for me, like I said, Ryan Garcia is back. He is living up to the hype that he had early in his career, and now we're seeing it in the forefront in pay-per-view in the Barclays Center and hopefully in Vegas that he is the real deal, and people need to watch out for him.
Look, this is my last thoughts, man. Salute to the 413, man. Now I mean, 4 plus 13 equals 17. Okay. Look, I just had to throw that in there. Like, why? Lil, really? What does that have to do with anything? I don't know. But anyway, 140 is real. It's real. The hype is real around 140, that division. Understand, I was a little bit suspect with it. Thought we had a lot of one-dimensional fighters in there. But Ryan Garcia really was the nail in the coffin. 140 is not about the names, but 140 is really that division right now. And once we get guys like Tank to move up there, barring that he does in the near future, 140 is probably going to be the hottest division in boxing right now, arguably. When you talk about the name power, when you talk about the talent, I think 140 just got a lot more interested. But that's half of my final take. My other take is Ryan Garcia. He's back, right? Like you said. And I think for me, I need y'all to like and subscribe to this channel right now because I actually dropped the video. It's good to gamble for Gazy Boxing till 6, where I talked about Ryan Garcia and his Bohemian Grove comments, and I broke it down. Okay, we exposed that place where these politicians and bankers go to dictate our future and the future direction of this country. Okay, I broke it down nicely. And salute to Ryan Garcia for opening Pandora's box, even if we didn't agree with some of his antics and all that, right? Unprofessionalism, missing weight. I get it. But he did say some good things in there. And at the end of the day, with all that talk and all the antics, and he won the fight. And this is the biggest night of his career. He delivered when it matters the most. If he lost this fight, he would be a myth. Yeah, he would have the social media following still. That ain't going away. Right? You think somebody gonna, I'm gonna unfollow. He lost to Devin Haney. Unfollow. No, he still would have had those. Right? But he showed that he is legitimate and he cashed in the biggest night of his life. Okay? And that's what matters.
Real
And
quick,
ladies and
hot
gentlemen,
take, real quick, hot,
go
hot,
ahead.
hot news, just fresh off the press. Ryan Garcia has declared he wants to move up to welterweight and fight Sebastian Fedora.
Okay.
It's hot. I just wanted to let you know before we get off.
I gotta look into that, bro. Ryan Garcia conundrum, folks.
Listen. I appreciate everyone who's been in the channel so far, whoever streamed, whoever followed, whoever subscribed. We are working hard here, but I'm glad everyone get to witness a great boxing fight and come into this recap and witness some history as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Exactly, Kenny. It's going to happen. I think it's inevitable. When you talk about Ryan Garcia's following, by the way, he was an A-side in this fight.
Yes,
He
sir.
took home the biggest split, 55-45, right? When you talk about his following and the fact that he beat Devin Haney, okay, a guy that people was trying to get Tank to fight for the longest, and Tank was like, I need a Ferrari. I need a taxi driver. I need a marching band to fight Devin Haney. Well, Ryan Garcia just disposed of Devin Haney. So that fight is probably going to happen. I will bank on that. Correct. Folks, we are out of here. One more time before we leave, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It's time for me to get up out of here. Zay, see you, my guy.
Peace.
Peace out. Peace.